what's in my head. This one's going to be a little different. I have a little guest with me today. The host of What's Your Effin' Binge podcast, Mr. Rutter. So it's the tale of two Chris's again. He's drinking and smoking. You know it's going to be a show. How you doing, Chris?
That's right. Two Chris's don't make a right. Doing good, brother. How about you?
But three rights make a left.
Yeah, that's right. Every time.
I don't know, man. I just, I know you saw something that I was commenting on Facebook against the doctor, no less. And then even as I was setting this show, listening to another podcast from a guy named Amazing Lucas, who was ranting about a case in Canada that I'll go into. But basically, what the purpose of the show is, in my mind today, is pedophilia. And how...
I made a comment on that one too.
Yeah, that's what I said. I know you saw the one where I was actually arguing with a doctor about it, who decided who wanted to, for some reason, wanted to tie in the of we're not harsh enough on pedophilia to women's rights. Not sure how that ties in, but
that's a scary mental gymnastics thing that a lot of people are doing right now in support of LGBT and sexuality, and we don't want to hush anybody or be harsh on anybody. Like, it's a really scary leap of what you're thinking to do all that mental gymnastics to get to that end. That's kind of a really fucked up thing, really. That's where you leap it to, you know? That's kind of crazy.
Well, I think her tie-in remain nameless on her. I'm not going to dox her and slap her out, because I'm sure supporting pedophilia. What she was arguing was my feeling that pedophilia, there's only one cure, and that's 2 bullets to the back of the head. You don't go to jail. You don't pass go. You don't collect $200 fucking dollars. You get taken from the courtroom, castrated, and hung. Televise that shit on TV.
As long as we're following, due process. A person gets their day in court, their 12 peers, whatever. As soon as that gavel drops and the motherfucker's guilty, because if I caught anybody fucking with my daughter back in the day, then, if pedophilia is like a sexuality type of deal, then me digging the hole is the same thing as gardening. So, that's...
it's
kind of a fucked up deal, man.
This identity politics to try to normalize pedophilia is disgusting. It's absolutely grotesque to me.
Or the instant canceling that goes on when you offer the different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Then they want to cancel you with the harsh rhetoric, and there's no leading the discussion into like medical journals, talking about it from a science. Like, you can be right with 3 things. You can be right with math, you can be right with physics, and you can be right with chemistry, because those numbers do not lie. Everything else, ideology, philosophical views, biological, the way things come out there's no wrong or right at the end of the day. It's how I feel and how you feel about it. We can get together and have a conversation. But there's really only 3 things in the world that come down to being right or wrong, and that's fucking math, and like I said, chemicals and physics. That's it. Everything else is a matter of opinion. So because you have a different opinion than this lady, then you get the cancellation message and you get the redirect. Because I saw it going on Facebook, and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm not going to jump into this one. Because then, she's going to feel like people are attacking on her, and it might even get worse on her end where, you end up getting attacked or something. So,
you know what? I get attacked
out of it after I dropped.
Because of my political points of view, in general, I get attacked. Anything I say automatically brands me as intolerant, at minimum intolerant, at maximum a racist and a bigot. Simply, like, I've gotten called a racist because I've stated, and I will constantly reiterate this. I support what Black Lives Matter stands for. I do not support Black Lives Matter. There is a major difference. Do I support the idea of total equality, that there are still things in this country that need to be rectified? Yes, I do. Do I support violence and looting and rioting? No. Do I support unprovoked attacks against people, white people, whether verbally or assaults? No. So in that aspect, I support Black Lives Matter. I do not support the movement of Black Lives matter.
And that's an interesting thing that you bring up, because, and I told my wife this maybe might have been a couple of years ago, and as soon as I say this, there's going to be a lot of red flags. And just let me finish what I'm saying.
Feel free.
For the people who might be watching or listening, I don't want anybody to automatically just fucking red curtain us or whatever. But I told my wife a couple of years ago, the only demographic in America right now that is allowed to be told what to do, what to say or what not to say, what you can think, cannot think, what you can or cannot feel, are white males.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been going on, and it's been progressing to this point, and this has all been since the start of the BLM, with the movement. And the funny thing is that everybody who's part of the cause, who are doing good things, they're the people who are doing the peaceful protest and everything until Antifa comes in and fucks shit up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the two ladies who founded them are fundamentally educated Marxists.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring that up into a discussion, it's like saying, but the protests are mostly peaceful. Well, outside of the 3 minutes before he killed Nicole and what's-his-face, O.J. Simpson had a really peaceful day that day he killed his wife.
Right.
Other than those 3 minutes where he killed, it was mostly peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Until that moment. So it's a really weird thing, and I think that I say we, being two white males on camera right now, but and to an extent, to an extent, we've allowed or brought this upon ourselves by a little bit of, not bending of the knee, but a little bit of acquiescing to what the argument is, just day after day, year after year, to where now it has reached this full head of steam, where people like you and I are backed into a corner, and you're not allowed to say or argue on the side of common sense, just fucking common sense.
That's my problem. That's my problem. You know what? You're right. A little bit of empathy, a little bit of too long have American-born males remain silent or fear of being taken away has led to these attacks that happen now. But the fact of the matter is that I am not a person that when you back me in a corner, I don't care how you paint me. I don't. I know I'm not a racist. I know I'm not a bigot. I know I'm not a homophobe. I know I'm not somebody who's against the LGBTQ or whatever else you want to throw at me. I know who the fuck I am. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and let you shit all over me and shit all over my culture and shit all over my family's background or try to shit on my kids' futures because of your warped beliefs.
You know what? A really weird statement that's going to come true for us, not for us in our lifetime, probably 50 years down the road, our kids will deal with history being rewritten. Mm-hmm. But history is always written by the victors, and so go the spoils. And I think that statement is something that we're going to see our kids have to deal with in a very different way than you and I were brought up. And I don't know if that's something that we're supposed to accept and expect, but it is definitely something that's going to be reality for, if not probably our kids. Well, my daughter's 26.
The problem,
your kids are younger, so I think it's going to be something that they see as a realization before my daughter probably will. She'll probably be my age by the time your kids are in their 30s, and this is just the way America is now.
Right.
And the eroding of the foundation because of the bad habits of our forefathers and whatnot. Not bad habits, but bad cultural decisions, bad ways of life, things that we don't agree with. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking agree with owning slaves, but our forefathers did. So because of that, we have to pay in absence of reparations. That's what it is.
But the problem is,
no reparation.
But the problem is, you have a problem in this, especially within this country. First off, let's look at the fact that this country is one of the first countries and one of the only countries to abolish slavery. There are still countries out there now who still practice capturing and indentured servitude throughout the Middle East, throughout Asia, throughout parts of Europe. It still exists. The United
For
States.
anybody, for anybody listening, you can, if you have an iPhone, ask Siri or Google, and ask it, true or false. There are more slaves on the face of the planet today than there were when we had the Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
and people would be astounded to find out that the answer is that is true.
But the problem with
And it
this,
has not,
the problem is
Go
that through the Civil War and through the Civil Rights Act, we've already atoned for the mistakes of the past. Personal opinion. Here's what I'm going to say as far as like this country and people's demands reparations. To get reparations is kind of like suing somebody that wronged you. Okay, when you break it down to its essential. Well, right, but you're suing a wrong that's happened to you for financial compensation. The problem is, in a lawsuit, the law dictates that you have to have a burden of proof. You have to turn around and prove that you were wronged by me. Your family was wronged by my family. Otherwise, I don't owe you shit. By the way, my family never owned slaves. We just lost your picture.
Right,
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, my bad. So the other side of that coin is the Pandora's box of which this opens.
Right.
Because if somebody's able to sue my family, we were from the South, and there were Rutters who fought on both sides of that war.
Right.
And we were like the true depiction of brother versus brother, okay? And there's a huge stable of us up there in Pennsylvania, and there's a huge stable of us down in Texas. So you can only imagine the differing views that come from this. But let's say that your great-grandfather ran over my grandmother in a horse and carriage. Do I have the right to come and sue you for that? Because my grandmother wasn't able to reproduce the uncle I should have, or cook breakfast for Grandpa in the morning so the farm went under? I mean, that's the Pandora's box we're opening if we go down this path.
Well, the problem,
America is a very lawyer-driven society. So once the door's open, it's open.
Well, that's the problem we're going in. That's what we're seeing in today's society. Now, I'm not going to throw politics say it's leftists. However, it's leftists. You break down to it, that's the whole reason why we're trying to change to comment on what you said earlier about history is written by the victor. That is true. However, there's a reason it's lost. It's because their ideals, their fundamentals did not stand. So when we're indoctrinating our children in public schools and colleges to hate America and everything America stands for based on supposition and not giving the full truth of the history of what has happened in this country, and teaching what had happened in this country, not only the bad but the good as well, the things that America has done, to not only create the country that it is, but to right the wrongs that it started with. America has done a lot of things that you're not getting the information on because we're too busy concentrating on the wrongs and not the rights and the answers to the wrongs that we've already started working on. That's your first problem. So we're rewriting history so that way the winner, the victor didn't get to write the history because we're going to change it. 1. 2, it's creating this victim mentality that anything you don't like, anything that doesn't fit your little narrow vision world can be changed, which leads into back to where we started, the pedophilia, pushing to try to be part of the LGBTQ community, pushing to be recognized as a normal form of sexuality. That you and I are the bigots. That you and I are the bigots for fucking thinking that these people are wrong, they're sick, and need to be taken out of society. All of a sudden, we become the bad guys.
Yeah, I'm so glad they're pushing back on the idea of that.
Oh, so am I.
As a group and an organization. Because if there was just one person within the LGBTQA community who was to be like, well, I felt that way, with whatever, then all of a sudden it gets allowed. And now you've got a real big motherfucking pickle to deal with, to be honest with you. And, in America works in a very strange way. We work on a pendulum. We go from a far left to a far right. Just look at our presidential elections over the past 40 years. We go from one degree of an idiot to another one. And then we go to somebody who's we think is in the middle, and we find out that each one, right after another, can't do the fucking job.
Right.
So that's why we swing from the left to the right. And right now, the victimization problem is a problem. I think what's good, whenever the pendulum swings to the other side, is when there's going to be a real fucking problem. Because now you're dealing with people who aren't snowflake mentality, who are victims. You're dealing with people who will bear arms and will fucking fight. And whenever the pendulum swings back that way, that's whenever civil unrest really becomes a worry. Whenever you're dealing with 13% of the population being in a mode of civil unrest, as opposed to 58% of the population being in a mode of civil unrest, you got a big fucking problem on your hands.
Well, see, I'm not even looking at it.
Oh, by the way,
I agree with you, but I'm not even looking at it from. I agree with you, but I'm not even looking at it from a racial standpoint. I'm looking at it from a political. The cancel culture, the snowflake culture that's going on right now that is shoving everybody in. That's ridiculous. You got whites, you got blacks, you got Asians, you got all that on that side that are attacking people that are, pull yourself up bootstraps. You get what you earn. People right now are being silent and taking the abuse. I'm not one of those people. I fight back, but when that pendulum swings, it's not going to be 58% white versus 13% black. It is going to be the people who are tired of being stepped on and blamed for your fucking problems. Essentially, it's the to my mind, it's the equivalent of walking up and punching the bully before he bullied you.
Mm-hmm. And then you find out that the bully, you were intimidated. Doesn't mean he was a bully.
Mm-hmm. You were just intimidated, but now you made a bully.
All the parallel. You made the bully actually be the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the real problem for our country is, because right now, we're on this big swing of change. We want everybody to change. But if anybody offers an opinion that is now obscure or is not right, we know it's morally not right. You can't say colored just as well as you can't say the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
But 50 years ago, my grandma thought it was perfectly okay to say the C word before you said the N-word. She thought she was being politically correct before the term was ever being around.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she was nice and kind. And we were like, Mama, you can't fucking say that. But whenever if we want everybody to change, can you really affect change if you burn everybody to the ground?
That's the point.
That's the cancellation culture. If there's no change if you burn everybody down. We need to have a talk and some education and some discourse between the multiple groups that need to be represented,
mm-hmm.
and come to a natural common sense conclusion. My forefathers did things wrong. Your forefathers did things wrong. Their forefathers did things wrong. But this is us now. So what are we going to do to make the whole situation better? Do I have to pat you on the ass and tell you it's going to be okay? Or can I just make a dynamic change?
Right.
And, hopefully my kids do it better. That's the natural common sense thing is just really missing from all of this discussion in America right now. It's just an instant rage and an instant burn you down cancellation kind of thing. And you can't affect change that way. You can't naturally affect change that way. You're making other people submit just the way your forefathers were made to submit to the will of another person. And, is anybody going to put us in chains and slave us or anything? God forbid, I hope not. But, it's kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the lines of suffering and whatnot, but if you make me shut up because my view doesn't match yours, then you're basically making me submit to your will, just like slave owners did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting discussion.
Well, to play off what you're saying, to get change out of back to pedophilia, we will. It just all kind of ties together, unfortunately, in this day and age. Especially the whole Epstein report. Um, we can go there.
Hey,
To change, I agree with you. Which is we need to stop the violence and get back to the dialogue. Unfortunately, I'm going to preface this with the fact that this is my view, my point of view. Nobody else's. Not the white culture, not Chris Rutter's, not anybody, not even my children or my wife or anybody. This is my point of view. Whether you agree with me or not, great. But don't blame anybody else for what comes out of my mouth. This is me and me alone. I agree that dialogue needs to come into play to be able to fix this problem. That you're never going to fix it until we have a civil dialogue. The only way I see that you can get that civil dialogue is as follows. You can't even sit down until you eradicate Antifa. Eradicate it. Just treat them like the criminals
they're
and
causing
terrorists.
So many problems right now.
Mhm.
They make us all look like idiots, and they're just causing so much fucking unrest every time they get a chance to like slide into some cracks here or there.
Mhm.
They just shit up in smoke every time they're around. It's fucking ridiculous.
Treat them like the terrorists they are and get them out of the equation. 2, get indoctrinating professors and teachers out of the goddamn schools. If you're teaching your point of view in class, you are not a teacher.
Anybody who sends their kid to Harvard and pays $84,000 a year to have somebody else put their political views on them instead of teaching
Historical
1
fact.
+ 1 = 2 at
Right.
a Harvard level, anybody who abides by that is just as foolish. And this is the part of what I was talking about before, where a little bit of acquiescing to the discussion has put us in this spot now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just talking of a lot of people with guilty consciences, and I get it, I understand it. Should we feel guilty to an extent? I mean,
No.
yeah, because it makes you feel bad, but at the same time, no, because I didn't own anything. I didn't own any slaves, neither did my grandpa. Like, you have to go back a long fucking time to find somebody who did. Not just in your family or my family, but just in anybody's fucking family. Okay, so what are we talking about? So I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of people who just get it held over their head like a hot bucket of fucking water, that if you say the wrong thing or think the wrong thing or feel the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to pour this hot water on. And there's a lot of people that have spent the last 30 years walking around in a little bit of fear that they're going to upset people, that has got us to the point now where now you have cancellation culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really simplistic explanation of things, but if you connect the dots, that's why we are where we are right now.
And I know we're skirting that line where relevist and what's your effing could get affected by this, but I feel it needs to be discussed. It does need to be discussed because
There's nothing wrong with open discussion. I wish we had a third party who could balance the view.
You know what?
Both of us are not like-minded, but at the same time, other people who are like-minded need to hear that there are other people who are like-minded. And there's nothing wrong with feeling like I have done nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to feel guilty, bro.
Right.
Like, I'm cool with you. Why are you not being cool with me? Just because.
That's the big. That's the big point. That's the big point. Just because I don't feel guilty or that I owe you anything, doesn't mean that I feel superior to you. That I feel that you should be held down. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I did nothing to you, so I have nothing to apologize to you for. However, if you want to come to me in brotherhood and be brother and brother regardless of skin color, my arms are open. But you want to come blame me for your hardships? No.
And one of the things that's funny is I know that where you live, it's like 90% predominantly white, and
where I live,
it is not.
No.
And I live in a little area of southern Indiana that is affectionately referred to as Jimtown. And there are both blacks and whites. There are Latinos here. And we live in the southern Indiana version of Compton, but it's a blend. And there's fights every fucking where. There's shootings down the fucking road. This is southern motherfucking Indiana. This ain't LA.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't St. Louis. This ain't New York. this southern Indiana. You got meth heads running around, you got crack heads running around, you got pill addicts, and then you got little hippies sitting on the fucking porches smoking weed like me, drinking a beer, and just enjoying the fucking show, I guess, because there's nothing else you can really do.
Right.
Uh, which is a fucked up feeling to have as well, because whenever the protests were going on here in Evansville, I told my wife whenever they announced it that they were boarding up everything downtown. There was suspicion that Antifa was going to be here, and I told my wife, I'm going to the protest. And she was scared, because she knew what would happen if I saw anything or somebody said anything slick to me or whatever. She's like, you're going to get shot or go to jail. And I was like, but this is where I grew up, man. Like, I can't look my best friends in the eye and say I knew that this was going to happen and I stood by.
Right.
I'm not that guy. And I'm going to go down there, and I'm not there to try to grab any headlines or be out in the front with everybody who's peacefully protesting, all the black people who have a foundational thing to stand on and have a peaceful protest. I'm not out there to be fucking shaking all their hands. I'm watching everybody six, motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted to go down there. And then thank God everything panned out the way it did, and Antifa wasn't in town, and it was a great thing. And I saw it. And I saw it from the back seat. I was in the back of the bus watching.
Right.
And, and everybody who saw me down there, they were the super fucking coolest. They're like, we're glad you're here. Hugs all around. I saw people that, back in the day I was fucking locked up with and all this other fucking shit. And they were all like, dude, we're fucking super glad that you're here. You're somebody who needs to talk about this. I'm like, I'm not here to talk. I'm just here to have everybody sick. Because I'm not going to watch our riverfront go up and smoke because these dickheads want to come in town and fuck our shit up.
Exactly.
And everybody was, whenever I had that discussion with probably 50 people. And they were like, that's what we need more of. That's awesome. Everybody was super appreciative, super fucking cool about it. It was awesome, And I don't know where I was going with that, but I mean, it's something. There's too many people out there that are on the fence or in the middle of this. They're not leaning as far right as so many people portray it as.
Right.
And if 2 out of 50 people are on Twitter right now, but those two people are basically demanding where the majority goes because of this woke culture that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, that's what represents the cut and cloth of America. And it's really not. If you're here in the heart of the country or whatever, and you're able to deal with a lot of different cultures every single day the way I do, you see it's really not like that.
I know.
And it's just so depressing that there's so many extremes out there because it's absent of color or absent of white in this area or another area. So people are able to really lambast these views and put them out there on social media. And those are the people that get the most attention right now. It's not you or me. It's the people who are the extremists.
No, you're absolutely right. And just to correct you, where I live is a melting pot. When I grew up, it was predominantly white, German, Irish neighborhood. But when those people died out, when those people died out, the Asians moved in, and then when I came back from Colorado, the Hispanic and blacks and Muslims have moved in. So it is a complete blend of different people within my neighborhood.
And there's nothing wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to correct when you said that I was predominantly 90% white. No, not my neighborhood. Nothing wrong with it.
I knew that you had said that about before, about the past, and I forgot the past part of it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misquote you. But
no, that's all right.
I mean, it's all great whenever you see all of these tribes and everything's working smoothly, and they have their problems, I have my problems, you have your problems, and we're all trying to figure it out. It's like everybody who gets into these big political debates or arguments, the first thing I always interject is, hey, when's the last time you paid attention to your local politics? Because you know who's going to fix the stop sign on the street where everybody fucking dies 3 times a year? It's not going to be President Trump.
Right.
And Trump isn't going to pass anything into effect that actually affects you or me unless we make $10 million a year, employ 1,000 people, or have international trade going on. Well, I don't have that, so nothing he's going to say or do actually affects me or you.
Right.
So why not pay attention to your local politics? That's not sexy right now. And I say it every election cycle, and nobody really acknowledges it or says anything about it until after the election's over, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's start jumping in our local politicians." Well, they lose steam because now you have to go face to face with the city council,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're dealing with people in your own backyard that are down the street, and people don't like that up close and personal confrontation or the discourse of ideas. That's where they really bail out. And you see who your real community leaders are at that point in time.
You're leading me segueing me into a question I was going to ask anyway, but it also helps kind of lead back towards the pedophilia issue as well, in the fact that part of the problems that we're having in this country, both political, woke culture, and everything else, can it be stemmed to the fact that this culture is way too comfortable with social media and the idea that they could say what they want or to whoever they want about however they want with zero consequence. The fact that they won't get punched in the mouth. Without getting punched in the mouth as we would do in not to put a fine point on it, but think of the high school days. If you turned around and told somebody something that they didn't like and you were in arm's reach, your nose would be bloody. But
hell, if you took the wrong, your ass was going to get fucking whacked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and that has been long gone from the school system.
Right.
So I think that's part and parcel where some of the problem is as well. You know, it just, I mean.
Do you think half the problems we have today it would not exist if we didn't have the social media culture?
Not so much the social media culture, but the everyone gets a trophy culture, which predates social media. We're paying a huge price for that, which was, like 95, 96, everybody started talking about in California in Little League, everyone gets a trophy. Well, now that's across the entire fucking nation.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing what those dividends are. And this is, my grandma was like, be careful the seeds that you have to sow, Christopher. And, whenever I was a kid hearing that, it was like, oh man, I'm being fucking silly and old. And now it's like, the old woman knew what she was talking about.
Mm.
This is something that society itself is having to deal. These are the seeds that we have sown.
And you know what? That's something that a lot of people need to take in, too. Listen to your grandparents. Listen to your great-grandparents. Because even if they lived through the times that you're bitching about from back in the day, they have a unique perspective on it because they've watched the world. They've watched the horrors of the past, which at this day and age, I think the only people alive that, as far as like the rights movement, they are the only ones that are still alive. There was nobody alive during the Civil War alive today. But I'm sure there's great grandparents from the civil rights movement days still around.
Civil rights, World War II through the Korean War, there's plenty of them around.
They've seen the horror and evil, and they've seen that came from it. So they do have a unique perspective. They've seen what it was like. They've seen the strides made to fix it. They see the horrors that are happening today that are justified. And I'm speaking all around. I'm speaking not only of the FIFA things being unjustified. I'm also speaking of the cops getting somebody in custody and putting his knee on his neck and killing him, or the Rodney King beating, for an example. Those are just examples. Those are just as wrong as everything else. And our elders have seen this shit before. Seen the strides to fix it, and now they're seeing it again on an unjustified level. Listen to them, because they're the ones that have the knowledge to fix this.
And that's where you hear some of the younger community and everything. They're like, "Okay, boomer."
Yeah, I know. By the way, I'm Gen X. I'm not boomer, so fuck off.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But the gray hair, they're like, "Okay, boomer." The problem is with most, like you and I are on the edge of being elders of our generation. I'm older than you. You're a little bit, 5 years behind me or whatever the case is. So I'm like right at the very edge of being a Gen X. I'm 1970.
Right.
So, like, I'm within a couple years of actually having been a boomer or whatever. So, um, but the problem is that the newer generation, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody for being younger or anything,
I will.
they're just living in a world now that instant gratification is part of the culture. Instant viewing of opinions and feelings are a part of the culture, and that's part of instant gratification. That's why we all have a phone in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able to pull up Twitter feeds or your timeline feed on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and be able to get instant snapshot of what it is that you want and get instant gratification to how you feel. And since they've lived their entire lives that way, there's a very long bridge to cross for us to have a really civil discourse with them, because everything with them rises, not everything with everybody, but generally speaking, whenever you're talking to a younger person, if you confront them with facts and then hit them with the simple question of, why do you feel that way? Why? Here's the answer. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now tell me why. If you ask a younger person why in a very point blank way, they will become highly emotional,
Mm-hmm.
very motherfucking quick. Because now you're asking them, you're painting them into a corner to give me the facts on why you feel that way. Tell me why. Why is the hardest question in the world to answer, especially for young people. I was that way whenever I was 20-something. I was super fucking emotionally charged. I get it. But I also didn't have this goddamn phone in my hand. So there's a warping of their reality to an extent, where they think everybody agrees with them because they're able to plug into groups and fan pages where everybody they see has the same opinion and feeling.
The echo
It
chamber.
makes it very hard to have a discussion because they're used to everybody they talk to agreeing with them. So if you have a disagreeing view or fact and ask them why they feel that way, oh, Jesus Christ. That becomes like a real boiling point matter for a lot of these younger people to deal with, and they're not equipped to deal with it because they're so emotionally gratified instantly all the time. And it's just, I'm not the right person to have this discussion with the younger generation because I'm too point blank. I'm too matter of fact with it.
Well,
And
that's
I
why I
always
said
lead down that trail.
when you started
I
off with
always lead
saying you
them
don't
down
want
the
to
trail.
interrupt,
And why?
you don't want to insult the younger generation. I'm like, I will, because of the fact that like
Yeah, I know.
you, I'm
Yeah.
completely blunt. I'm honest. I'll tell you what I think. I will tell you what I feel, but I will tell you how things really are in the real world, not in the Facebook chat room, not in the Xbox Live chat room while you're playing with your buddies on Call. I don't live in the echo chamber, and so I will tell you the way things are. And if I can't tell you the way things are factually, I will tell you the way things are from my point of view. But I'm also very clear between the two. If I'm giving you my point of view, I blatantly tell you my point of view. If I'm giving you facts, I give you facts. And if I have to cite where I got those facts from, then that's what I'll do. But I do not give two shits about your feelings.
Yeah. Whenever I was a sales manager at a Fortune 100 company. I've long since passed that, but I had to deal with a lot of younger people, and I would tell them, I would always lead all of our conversations if they questioned my authority or they questioned why we have to do it this way or that way. I would always lead everything off with, based on my experience, this is how I've gotten where I am now, and this is where I was able to be successful if I did it this way. And that kind of communication seemed to really reach them on a large scale. But if you don't lead it that way, it just seems like it just go to shit in a fucking handbag real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a more delicate generation has to be dealt with more delicately, I guess. I don't know, and it's our fault. We
It is.
them.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That is our fault. Generation X was considered the worst generation. Was supposed to be the worst generation of all time. That was what boomers expected of us. And if you listen to millennials like that, we screwed it up for everybody else. And you know what? The one thing that millennials have right The one thing millennials and the generation past do have right, this is on us. We fucked it up. We were the catalyst.
Yeah.
We were the keystone that changed the society of America, and it's not for the better. This is me accepting responsibility for my actions.
Stand up and we didn't show up and vote, or we didn't stand up for what we knew what was wrong, and we allowed things. And this goes back to my original point. We allowed things to get to this point.
Complacency. That was the word I was looking for earlier.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous word to have that as part of a description of you or your kind in the time, your generation. And I'm not saying yours, because I'm part of it too, but
right.
I'm just saying that we wanted things to be easier than what our parents did. We wanted things to be. I wanted to encourage my kids to, you can do anything. Well, no, you fucking can't. If a kid brings a drawing to you and they're like, "Hey, Daddy, can this go in the refrigerator?" It's like, Bubba, no, this isn't good enough to go on the refrigerator. Because when you're 4 years old, the refrigerator's your fucking Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
So they're bringing you the drawings all the time. Sometimes you just have to be honest and be like, "No, Bubba, this one isn't good enough to go on the fridge. That doesn't match what you did last week. How long did you spend on this? A minute? Yeah. You don't get to spend a minute on something and it'd be put in the Hall of Fame, bro. That's the way it is." So at this older stage in life, now I'm not afraid to have that conversation with grandkids or even my nieces and nephews or my daughter. But 25 years ago, with an infant in arms, it was like, man, I want them to be able to do everything, and I don't want them to get paddled every day at school like I did, blah, blah, blah. So that's where it's our fault. It is.
We wanted to be protective, and we wound up being overprotective, and this is the result. And now our kids have had kids, and they're carrying on what we started, which is why we're the catalyst. Which is, again, that I will claim responsibility for. Not personally, because personally I raised my kids the way my grandfather raised me. However, my generation, yes, we are responsible for everything that's happening today. This is Gen X's fault, because we started the snowball down the hill that created the avalanche. It's the truth.
And we never stood up and stopped it. That's where the problem lies. Not the fact that you could start anything you want, but whenever you know right from wrong and you don't stop the wrong, that's where the fuck ups really start. And then they start to escalate and compound. And we're in a what's he say, brother? We're in a tough spot, boys. Yeah, it's kind of like that right now. Oh brother, where art thou? Yeah, that's where we're in a tough spot, boys. It's kind of like that. Like, who's the people who faces the younger generation that has that conversation? Because you can't lead off with "I'm sorry."
No. And the worst thing in the world,
because then you're automatically beneath them. Now they are superior. You can't have that.
Exactly.
As lead off to your conversation.
Exactly. It's like, the fact is that the everybody in society today needs to look at the world and say, okay, the past is the past. Today is a new day. Where do we go here? That's what people need. We need to let go of the past. I'm not saying forget history. Never forget history. Learn from history. So that you wake up in the morning.
History, you're going to repeat it.
So wake up in the morning and say, today's a new day. There's no direction but forward. Where do we go from here? Quit looking at what had been. Look towards what should be. Which now,
and I don't know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You got the segue going.
No. Go ahead. I can hold the segue.
Okay. And this is probably just because of the past 30 years of not being able to vote federally because of my background. So I've always looked at the local community where I can.
Right.
And I think the beginning of it is everything all right in your neighborhood? If it's not all right in your neighborhood, go talk to your neighbors. See how easy that discourse actually is. And then you can expand from there. Fix your local situation before you worry about the rest of the nation, because every little segment, every little population, every little city and town in America is a little bit different. from one degree to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at this as a community, and do I look down the street and everything's okay? No. Okay, so where do I start? If you start with those little Legos, then you can build up to the big ones. You can't be 23 years old and jump into the Imperial fucking starship with the Lego kit, okay? You got to build the little go-kart first, and that's your local politics. You got to start with the small pieces first. Figure it out, find out how that shit actually works, and then you can start escalating up to the national level. At the age of 22, you haven't had your nose broke 4 fucking times. You haven't seen people get burnt to the fucking ground. You haven't seen your friends go to jail or OD or all of this other fucking shit. You can't tell me how to live, kid. And that's a statement that you can't lead off with either.
Well,
So,
that's why I was going to go.
Bad as saying, I'm sorry, we fucked up.
That's why I'm going to build off of what you said with the take your neighborhoods and start there. I would go one step further. You can't clean the neighborhood till you clean your own house. The revolution starts by living.
Cool in your bedroom?
Yeah, the revolution doesn't start until you live the ideals that you wish to impart. So, if you are a person who does not live the way you want other people to live, if you don't truly have the ideals that you want other people to follow, you have no right telling other people what to do. Clean your own
look out in your front
shit.
Yard, your kid isn't being the paradigm of virtue that you espouse that the nation should be, then maybe you should start with your fucking kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from there. You know, that's the check your backyard idea. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Is you and your wife okay? No, then don't tell me how me and my wife should.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes from there. And you don't have to be that confrontational. That's just my nature of start. But the discussion is still true, though, right? Like, my neighborhood isn't cool. So how can I tell the rest of the nation to be whenever 3 houses down on the block, they got all kinds of fucked up shit going on, and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm right here. So do I really have something that I can really say? Or do I have, like we talked about earlier, the social media mentality, where you can say what you want, how you want, to whoever you want, because you ain't been punched in the fucking mouth yet. And, and that's a hard discussion to have with somebody who hasn't been punched in the mouth. You and I have been punched in the mouth.
Too many
so
times.
We can have that discussion.
Yeah, too many times.
Too many goddamn times. That's why I have this crooked nose and this fucking red spot right here. I'm not super cool to be on camera, but I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
There's just it has to start somewhere, and the national politic narrative isn't the place to start.
Right.
Because, like I said before, the president is not going to do anything that actually affects you or me. Joe Sixpack is not affected by anything that the Donald says, isn't affected by anything that Obama did on a huge motherfucking scale.
Right.
Like, unless you're making $10 million, you're employing 1,000 people or have international trade going on. Look at your local situation before you blow up on everybody else on the national scene, because that's just so divisive. Now, our president doesn't do a good job of leading people calmly through a divisive situation. That's the only problem I have right now, is if you could take Donald and give him the ability to publicly speak in a calming way that Obama had the ability to do.
Yeah,
it'd
but
almost be fucking perfect.
It'd almost be perfect, but it would almost be perfect. But one of the major that Donald was elected to begin with was because he's the kid father that we need. He will be blunt. He's you and me. He's you and me in the fact that I don't care about your feelings. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Now that works at detriment to him, absolutely.
But, during the bad talks of
that's a detriment to him.
Right now, it has worked to a detriment. If this pandemic had not been going on the way that it is, and then the civil upheaval that started in Minneapolis had not happened all simultaneously,
almost like it was planned.
He's just wrong voice for that situation. Unfortunately, everything else is okay. He's not a politician. He's not from the swamp. All of that shit works in his favor. But whenever it comes to the public dialogue, in a circumstance like we're in right now, it's just unfortunately that could very well be his undoing. And economically, we were headed down the right road, and it's all being undone right now. So everything he says is put on highlight, and then it becomes divisive because then he feels the need to defend himself, and he goes on the attack like you and I do. Automatically, I'm confrontational. Fuck you. And he's the same fucking way. And at the beginning, 4 years ago, that's what appealed to guys like you. And now it's like, without the proper running mate, like, do I have to be a complete idiot and pull the Biden tag because of how divisive he's made the country? Like, do I want the country to go to civil war? Okay, then pull the Trump tag. Do I want the country to feel better about themselves? Then pull the Biden tag. But the guy, he released a press statement the other day, and it was a bowl of alphabets. That's how he fucking communicates, okay? So without his running mate being the right person, then you're just being a blind moron pulling that tag, hoping for the best.
Right.
It's like that joke that Eddie Murphy had back in the 80s about white people voting for Jesse Jackson. Oh, God, I just voted for Jesse Jackson. We could deal with the same kind of outcome this November, because people are like, I can't take the divisiveness anymore. And that's the lack of strength.
That's you're hitting the nail right on the head. If Donald Trump lost the election to Joe Biden, it isn't because Joe's the better candidate. It will not be because Joe's the better candidate. It will not even be because the Trump derangement syndrome is in this country right now. It's not even going to be about that. It's going to be because people are sick and tired of hearing the argument. I'm one of those people. I voted for Trump because I didn't want Hillary Clinton in office, not because I was a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump supporter now because I'm tired of hearing your guys' shit.
Yeah.
But Trump wasn't my guy.
And that's what Biden is going to look at.
Trump wasn't.
That's where the Biden votes come.
That's something a lot of people never seem to get in their minds. Trump wasn't my guy. When the 2016 elections first started out, my guy was Ted Cruz, which, by the way, if you pay attention to Ted Cruz's career in the past 4 years, he's proving why he was my choice. Everything he's trying to do in Senate.
I feel the same way currently about Tulsi Gabbard. And I think that if Biden was to choose her, which he won't, because everybody at Capitol Hill is really afraid of her, because she won't be bought. She served. She holds a lot of conservative values, but the Conservative Party, because she's a woman of color, won't support her either. So she's kind of in a
I don't think that's
spot.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct, because the Conservative Party does have voices of color and female within it. The problem is that maybe the Conservative Party, maybe not at the presidential level, maybe that's what the Conservative Party needs to do. Is if Trump loses and Biden gets in, for example, maybe the next person that needs to be put up on the limelight is a person of color. Doesn't matter if it's male or female.
That's the reason I was all for Tulsi. It's like, man, look at this fucking bingo card right here. You got a woman of color with some liberal views. She saved, even though Hawaii's a small state, she saved it agriculturally. She's done all this other shit, a lot of very progressive stuff, so she clicks that box.
Right.
And then on the other side, she's also still small government, and she served 2 fucking tours, mind you, not just one, and she saw action. Okay? And she's fucking hot. So,
it does help.
A lot of fucking boxes checked right there. I mean, I don't know. And kind of the same way you're saying about Cruz, I think if everybody looks at her projection over the next 4 years, once you get the Clinton faction out and things like that, because they're dying off, not because they're being voted out. They're just fucking dying off. They're all getting old. That's whenever she's going to be able to come to the forefront.
Or Hillary's finding out what they've got on her. Let's be real.
Yeah, and that's the Epstein files. I mean, it's fucking Jesus Christ. That is such a crazy thing. And how, I mean, they must have her completely under lock and key, that we have not heard news that she suicided herself yet. Because she's been in custody now for almost 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Which Epstein was in custody for almost 4 whenever he suicided himself too.
He was in for a cup of
Quote,
coffee.
unquote. So,
He was in for a cup of
yeah.
coffee. I still don't understand
Well,
how.
he'd been detained and then got moved around, and his last stop is where it happened at. So that's why everybody thinks he was
While
only
under
in custody for
suicide
2 days.
watch.
No, that was just his last stop. Yeah.
While
So,
under
I mean,
suicide
he'd been
watch,
custody
yeah.
for a minute. Yeah. So that's like a real fucked up thing. You can't tell me there isn't something going on there.
See,
And I think everybody in America is to the point now where they just take it as with a grain of salt that, okay, someone had Epstein killed. Okay, move on. Just like I was saying last week with the UFO information coming out from the Pentagon, everyone's like, okay, UFOs are real. Move on. It's like,
yeah,
can we just like stop for a second and like think about what just got said?
yeah. Star Trek lied to us, man. The
Yeah.
proof of out in the universe is supposed to unify us. Instead, we ignore it because The View said something nasty, or CNN reported something false. Donald Trump said something insensitive. It's the exact opposite of what Gene Roddenberry envisioned people.
Right?
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what Gene Roddenberry. But you know what? Epstein's suicide is one of the few times in this world that I really didn't know how to feel. I really didn't know how to feel. Because, yeah, I wanted him to fucking open that Pandora's box and let every name out. I wanted every single one of them. But at the same time, and this is about the only time I'll actually compliment a Clinton, it's one less pedophile.
It's one less pedophile enabler, and you're definitely correct on that. But at the same time, the juice that he could have spilt on all of the other pedophiles who are making our rights and laws and bills, I think that has much more weight to it than the person who enabled it.
But the problem is that we're too light. We're too light on it. That, again, I told you we would swing back around. That comes to what I was watching while setting this up with Amazing Lucas. He reported, and I invite you guys to go to his channel, the Lucas, and go check out his statement about a pedophile in Canada. And I don't have all the details here to give you everything exactly, but the guy was the boyfriend of a woman who had a son, and this guy not only was doing terrible things to this child, the mother knew about it and enabled it. Guy was taking pictures of him abusing the child and everything, and wanted to try to get the mother to agree to allow other men to do this to this child as well. The only way this guy got caught, biological father of the kid wound up intercepting one of the text messages between the two. That's what happened.
Daddy came home, basically, kind of deal.
Daddy came home, kind of deal. He tried to do it the right way. He got the guy, called the cops. Guy got arrested. Went to court. The judge decided, because he suffers from PTSD, to throw it out. There was no crime because he has a mental disorder.
This is real?
This is real. This is up in Canada, yeah. And this is quoting the judge.
Well, our brothers to the north have always been accused of being too nice. And, I don't know if, the enabler needs to be punished as much as the person who committed it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in that fucking situation, the mother herself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're oh man, that's such some fucked up BDSM story that has gone horribly fucking wrong.
I don't normally do this. But for people listening and people watching on the YouTube channel, I will put the link to the Lucas clip that I got this from. That's off. I will put that in the description so you can go check that out for yourself and see what he presents, because he does present some of the things from the case that, like I said, I don't have in front of me to be able to give you exact quotes. So definitely check that out after you're done with this episode. It will be in the link in the description below. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
So the judge based on his so was this guy an American first and then moved to Canada?
He didn't say. All he said is that he suffers from PTSD. The only consequences that the guy has received. He is out free, but he has been registered as a sex offender. That's the worst. Is that he was just registered as a sex offender.
PTSD. So PTSD is a fallout from family circumstances, like a woman who's been domestically battered could have PTSD.
Right.
A child who was physically or sexually abused could have PTSD. Or a person who was in war can have PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Name a war Canada has been in where this fucker should be labeled as PTSD, because PTSD labels only come from the government for people who served and fought in war. The description of a woman who has domestic violence and PTSD, I know this only because my wife's previous marriage was very abusive.
Right.
So, but that is not upheld in court. A PTSD diagnosis does not come from any motherfucking doctor whenever a woman has been abused or a kid has been abused. You're just a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
PTSD as a label is only given to soldiers. So what war has Canada been in where this motherfucker could have PTSD?
Well, I mean, I know that Canada was involved with Operation Desert Storm back in the 90s. I guess you could kind of argue the point that maybe
on the front line.
maybe not on the front lines, but it's still part of the Allied movement. I would say at least for. I'm not sure. Ask a Canadian more than me, but I'm part of the joint NATO operation, so I guess it's feasible if this guy even served.
Wow, so on what authority or what? So judges in Canada, they're elected politically.
Mm-hmm.
Like from prime minister on down, anybody who holds an official office, they get elected. It's not like judges here where some of them get appointed, some of them get elected, depending, whether it's circuit court or superior.
Right.
Like here, they get elected and put on task, right? But in Canada, I think like everybody who has like that kind of position has been elected.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, I wish I could reach out to Venus real quick and find out how it works in Alberta. But like that is so fucked up that a guy can be sitting on the bench holding that as that's a political view.
Mm-hmm.
To pass a ruling like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is really, really
now
fucking weird, bro.
I understand. I want you people to understand. I understand this is Canada, not the United States. I understand that, but you don't think 1 second that the movement to normalize pedophilia ain't heading in that direction? What I just described right now, down here in the States,
well,
you're wrong.
So that's been going on for 20 plus years. That's the reason that there are apps so that way you can locate where your local pedophile is. Not so that way you can protect yourself. Just so that way the court can say it's doing its job in notifying the public.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a move to normalization with that to begin with. This is a connecting the dots from the past 30 years of we give everybody participation trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Letting everybody know where the pedophiles are, but you can't put your hands on them or you will get criminal charges,
mm-hmm.
is a way of normalizing. Wow, that's just that's
it's mind blowing, isn't it? Like when I first stated I wanted to do
for the mother to be participating is what is completely crashing me, to be honest with you.
Well, again, when I first said I wanted to do this episode, and I didn't tell you I wanted it to be on the pedophilia. The only reason I wanted to talk about it was because of the Facebook feed and how I was having that argument with that doctor. That was the main cusp of when I was starting and setting this up. As I was starting it up and setting it up, I couldn't get anybody else to want to be on the show tonight. I had YouTube playing. Lucas clip came on, and my mind was completely blown. My mind was just completely shot. Like, wait, I got to play that again.
The way my show is geared is that my show is not the platform that I would ever discuss this on, but having the opportunity to hear about it and discuss it here with you is whenever you deal with judges who have released a convicted pedophile, whenever you deal with judges who let a pedophile go because some of the information or facts ended up being circumstantial, he said, she said stuff,
Right.
even though there's physical evidence involved. Whenever you look at all of the judges across the landscape of America, all of the lower 48, at least.
Right.
Because you'll never hear about anything like this in fucking Alaska, I promise you. That motherfucker would be buried in the snow and never heard from.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think they feed the crabs on Deadliest Catch?
Lower 48, the fact that this story, this kind of story, is being heard of more and more is something that anybody who is a parent or aspires to be a parent, like that's the foundational floor. Like if we're going to protect our kids and we're going to evoke change, that's the looking in your backyard part that you touched on before.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a judge in your fucking circuit where you live at that has allowed a pedophile to go who was dead to rights, and they allowed it to go for this little bullshit reason. Now, I haven't heard of anybody being diagnosed with PTSD in America being let go for that as the cause, but I have heard of people being let go because of emotional or mental trauma, which is almost kind of the same thing.
Essentially, yeah.
Is any of those judges, who appointed them was elected, and if they were elected, needs to be voted out. And that's the local politics game that I was talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at that stuff across the board. Who's sitting on the bench? Who was voted? Who was appointed? And are they letting this shit slide that you don't agree with and you didn't go vote on it? Then shame on you. And this is like a wake-up call kind of for a lot of people who are non-voters. Because at the end of the day, other than like the city councilmen and stuff, I'm fortunately not given the right to have a dog in the fight. I can have a view, but I don't have a voice.
Right.
So for anybody who does, and you're living in a district where you have an elected official who's allowed these things to pass, you need to look yourself in the mirror, bro.
That's exactly right. And again, you know, we were talking about it before, like things being on a national level or a grand scale of things where people are arguing about the government and this, that, and the other. But when you really, really think about it, when it comes down to the essentials of the United States of America and the ideas of like the First and Second Amendments, they weren't meant for nationality, although nationality is what they are. They were meant for municipality.
They weren't a nationalist. Yeah, they were not a nationalist. What's the right word? They weren't a nationalist platform. Is not what they were written for.
Right. They were written for the 13 colonies. Now, when you think about it from that standpoint, understand what I'm about to ask here. Now, again, I'm not speaking on the national level. I'm speaking on each and every individual municipality, each and every county, state, city, individually. When your government fails, and make no mistake, even a judge is part of the government. When your government fails, what do you do? And is there ever a time to ask that question? And is there ever more of a time to ask that question and figure out what is the proper response when your government fails than when it's your child? It's God's honest truth.
Yeah, because if it is in your own house, because if it affects you in your own house, you're going to have a much more visceral reaction to what that is. But on a national scale, we can like kind of fade it and kind of smooth it down and really widen the breadth of the entire conversation. But if it happens in your house, you'll have a much different fucking reaction. I promise you that.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who would do that, we've discussed this before, and I'm not going to bring it up.
No, but, I don't want to go there again.
Yeah,
that was an after-hours show that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, yeah, that's a really fucked up thing, man. Really fucked up, and you know, like you're talking about, whenever you look at it in those broad strokes, is it being normalized? You'd hate to even really think that or give it credence, but there is some point to that, and you know, that's a really fucked up deal.
It's a hard thing to say, but like I said, the link will be in the description below. below for you guys to check out the video that I'm talking about. And while we're at it, guys, I want to know your guys' opinion on this. And again, I know that I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. Like Chris said here earlier, his show doesn't do things like this. And Realm of the Mist Entertainment normally doesn't do things like this either. We are primarily entertainment. I probably just, torpedoed my own career in podcasting with this episode, but it really needed to be discussed. And it's just something. This show was specifically designed for me to get things off my chest that bother me. And there's nothing on this planet that bothers me more than pedophilia. Nothing on this, because I am a father, because I'm a father of children who have been harmed by pedophiles. There's no worse evil on this planet to me. Now, you don't have to agree with that. You could think Hitler's worse than a pedophile. I don't. That's how much I hate pedophiles. Because I agree that Hitler is the most evilest person in human history. But
unless you lived in the time of Genghis Khan, he did kill off the 10% of the planet. But
true, fair enough. But to give a grand scale of how much I hate pedophiles, I would sooner forgive Adolf Hitler than a pedophile's first offense.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if forgiveness needs to be in the conversation at all with any of the above.
The reason I state that is because of the fact that there's no way, shape, or form that we would ever give Adolf Hitler his crimes against. There's no way. Nor should there be. But I'd sooner find a way to forgive Adolf Hitler before a pedophile. Tells you how unforgivable hurting a child is. The fact of the matter is, they all should be dead in a bunker.
Definitely. Whether it's in Argentina or whatever. Yeah.
Right. This is not an excuse for anything for Nazis or supremacy or anything like that. It is simply the statement of that I put Adolf Hitler's Third Reich evil alongside a pedophile harming a child. That is how evil a pedophile is to me.
There you go. That's a good statement. They're on the same level. Okay.
They're on the same level.
Same level. Yeah, same level of evil. That's whenever you're dealing with that kind of person, you're dealing with someone who nature has gone horribly wrong with. I think that's something that we can all agree on. And whatever you put the weight on, whether it's nature itself or the person's predisposition or the fact that the devil got into them or whatever.
Whatever, right.
They're just as equally evil and just as equally bad. And the fact that anybody's able to slip through the cracks on something like that and get released or not convicted or whatever. If there's this is one of those subjects where I don't believe that there's anything more relevant other than just circumstantial evidence. If there's any physical evidence whatsoever that holds up the accusation, then put the motherfucker down.
Well, see, again, and it kind of leads back to the national stand with the arguments that a lot of people are going after today for defunding the police and defunding and abolishing police. And why I stand against it, besides the fact that I believe in our police department, I don't believe in the evil less than 1% of the police department, but the overall percentage of the police are good. Okay. But as far as ICE, again, going from my own personal, what's the lack of better term here? What's the term I'm looking for here?
Personal view. Yeah.
Not personal view, personal experience. Personal experience within this dark realm. It was ICE and Homeland Security that busted the guy that harmed my children.
Okay.
Because they were doing internet stings for child pornography and pedophilia. You want to abolish the arms of the law that caught the guys who harmed my children? Fuck you.
Right. And that doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be some refining of the process or maybe perfecting of the process or whatever the case is. Some people probably do get unduly punished and whatnot in situations where they're able to cast this huge net over communities and pull them in. But whenever you're dealing with somebody who's been singularly identified as a predator,
Right.
and that branch of law enforcement was able to step in and catch him red-handed. So now you're seeing, the real value of what they do
Mm-hmm.
on a personal level. Then if they're able to put forth those good stories as opposed to the, oh, my boyfriend was wrongly accused of being an illegal Mexican or whatever,
Right.
then, there's good and bad with every branch of law enforcement. I've had my run-ins with them, all because of my fault, because I'm a fucking knucklehead.
Right.
And,
At least you can admit that. Like even if they were wrong, there's an easy way to avoid them. Even if we're in the wrong, there's an easy way to don't do anything to draw their attention.
yeah, don't get caught fucking up and don't be doing that dumb shit. Don't be a knucklehead. And everybody goes to those periods of life where they're dumbasses and they do dumb shit. But somebody who's fundamentally flawed enough to do that's kind of like the fabric of the cloth that you are woven with, and that's what you are. And those people from the first one to the last one need to be put down so we can eradicate them from. They can't be allowed to perpetrate what they are. They can't be allowed to perpetrate wasn't the right word, but they can't be allowed to continue that kind of legacy. And
Now,
just really fucked up. Fucked up.
Now, see, when I say that every pedophile is castrated and hung, I truly believe that, but that is a personal opinion. The right consensus to say for a pedophile, a convicted pedophile, because I know the bleeding hearts. No, you can't do that. They're still human beings. Fine. Here's my compromise. They never again see the light of day. I don't care if you put them in an insane asylum. I don't care if you put them in a maximum security prison, whatever you prefer. But once they are found guilty of it, if you're not going to kill them, you need to remove them permanently from society. Period. They can never be a harm to a child again.
If you want to see the good or bad of the society, take everybody who's a pedophile or a sexual predator or whatever, and just let them loose in the yard for 1 hour. Do it once a day, every week of the year, and see how many of them are left. And that will tell you everything you need to know about society, that the most hardened, convicted fucking criminals take it upon themselves to wipe out. That tells you everything you need to know, because we all look down upon those people who are behind bars for good reason. But if you want to find out how society should really react to it, let them loose in the yard and record it. And then show everybody this is what happens whenever you're a convicted pedophile. Shit like that will not be as widespread or normalized very quickly if you were to do that, I assure you.
I know. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, as much as I would want them removed from society completely, in other words, to quote the amazing Lucas here, lights out. Lights out. I would agree with that statement 120,000%, because that is what I believe. However, I know society doesn't follow my train of thought in the fact that you kill evil. You remove it from the equation. Yeah. So, my compromise is you remove them from society and from children ever again. You don't reincorporate them back into society. I don't care how much you think you might be able to rehabilitate somebody. You can't. You can't. You do not put them in.
That reminds me of that conversation that Christoph Waltz had in Inglourious Basterds.
All right.
And he said, what would you do if a squirrel came into your living room? You would shoo it out of the house and everything. And why? Because the squirrel's cute, because it has a big fluffy tail. Now, reverse that, and let's say that a rat comes into your living room. Rats and squirrels are both rodents. The difference is one has a fluffy tail, the other one doesn't. What would you do if a rat came into your living room? Would you not kill it?
Yeah.
They're humans too. I get that for the bleeding hearts. But one is bad and one is not. One you shoo away and make them leave, whatever the case is. The other one you just fucking outright get rid of. And yeah, that's anybody who would have any grounds whatsoever to like defend anybody for their humanity when they present that lack thereof. I don't want to say fuck you too, but at the same time, fuck you too, to be honest.
And I don't think we could say any more than that, guys. Thank you for joining us. I probably pissed a lot of you off. If I did, I don't apologize, but I'd love to hear your side of the argument. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit that like button if you like this video. Share, subscribe, check out the normal podcast of Realm of the Mist Entertainment. And, of course, for a chance here, we're also going to turn around and give the floor to Mr. Rutter so you can find out what he normally does when he's not here ranting with me.
Yeah, man, season 2 of What's Your Effing Binge kicks off this week. We've got a new Quentin Tarantino special that is actually coming out. And we have a few new links that are coming out with some advertisers and sponsors that are starting for season 2. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, soon to come Spotify video. Also, everywhere else where good podcasts are able to be found on Apple and et cetera. So, What's Your Effing Binge? Check it out.
All right, guys, and of course, besides right here on YouTube, also on Anchor, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, wherever quality podcasts can be heard. Make sure you check out Realm of Mist Entertainment. This Thursday, I will be sitting down doing another Breaking the Fourth Wall interview, and sometime this week, I promise you, sometime this week, will be the relaunch of Realm of the Mist podcast. I'm just putting together the panel and putting together the topic, but it is coming. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Catch you soon. I hope the world figures out what it needs to do. Hey guys, it's Chris from Realm of the Mist Entertainment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts that can be found on Realm of the Mist Entertainment's YouTube channel or our sister channel, Sounds Dicey Gaming, for all your tabletop needs. And if you prefer your podcast in audio-only format, check out Realm of the Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. To our Patreon supporters, we thank you very, very much. And if you're interested in being a Patreon supporter, please go over to patreon.com/Realm of the Mist, and just $1 a month gives you exclusive content and helps our channel out greatly. Guys, again, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode.